one, go.
And a brand new Cyrus says it's Monday today when we're recording it for our live audience and for our not live audience. Not that you're not live, but you're alive, but not alive to us at the moment. But my point is, again, sadly, unfortunately, there's this rumor in the air that there will be a lockdown in Maharashtra from March 1st. And I'm very clear about this. And I understand there may be a new strain and things might be surging and all that. But I'm completely anti-lockdown. It's just a philosophy. It's like, are you pro-global warming or not? I'm just completely anti-lockdown. So my decision is thus. If, dear Maharashtra government, and this is not a threat, and I hope I don't sound like that fellow who wears the glasses on the other channels and now has moved to Delhi. If you do a lockdown on March 1st, my vote, which went to Shiv Sena last time, will transfer itself to the BJP. This is my threat. And this is how you threaten a democracy. The biggest threat of all. Transfer of vote. So no lockdown, please. Listen to me. No lockdown. You can move the rules around a little bit. I heard there's a 9 to 5 option and this and that. You can do things like that. But let's not have a full lockdown because that's very painful. I cannot live with this family anymore. God, please understand. By God, I mean government. All right. It's called Cyrus Says. Let's introduce the two scholars for the day. Amit Doshi, double PhD in global warming, and also anti-Australian Prime Minister Scott Morrison. He'll tell you why. So you'll not get an Australian visa ASAP, but you may get in a year because their PMs last 6 months each. Silvery joins us right in the middle of his career as a stand-up comedian. This lockdown came and spoiled his chances of making good money. So you will be on my side. No lockdown, Silvery.
Yes. Yeah, no
That's
lockdown. Hate lockdowns. Yes.
Little bit more. Some more passion.
Despise lockdowns. They're the worst.
Start throwing things. Yeah. I'm hoping it's just like a threat because I tried to translate it in my Marathi. It's not very good from what was on that website. But apparently it's more like behave children and make sure you wear your mask and sanitize, blah, blah, social distance. Otherwise, on 1st March, we will take very, very strong measures. Is that what it is? Or does anybody have better information?
That's what I got out of it, right? It was like more of a
warning.
They put a quota on how many people they want to catch without masks every day. So, in the same foolish way we do all things, we decide to put a quota on it so that the police now have an incentive to catch people even if they don't need to catch people.
No, the word is target and it's a marketing thing. If it works in corporate India and corporate world, it's fine for the police as well. They have a target, make the target. Yeah.
But interesting target versus quota. Interesting language choice.
But listen to me. I'm a little worried. We've suddenly forgotten about the severity of lockdown because the last 6 months, all of us have started, business as usual, somewhat, etc., etc. So we've forgotten to go back there to be locked in buildings and basically, doing everything only online. I don't know. I'm not happy. I'm not ready for that. I don't want to go back to that world, whatever happens.
I feel like we're not there where they would go and take such a drastic step again, right? I think also, but here's the thing as well, right? That even if such a drastic step is needed for whatever reason, and I don't think it is, and I don't think it's justified, but even if such a drastic step is needed, I have got to say that we've learned a lot, right? I mean, like even as people, forget the government. Hopefully the government has learned more than we have, right? About how this shit works and doesn't work. But even as people, we have a much, much better idea of how to kind of handle something like this if it comes up again. So it shouldn't. I hope it doesn't. I don't want it to. It would suck. But I think that we have a better handle on how to handle it.
I know. I think Silvery can help us because Raju, right? Silvery?
Raju who?
Raju, you told me about him. Raju works in Uddhavji's office. He's a peon there. So you'll have inside information about what's happening when, generally in all big structures, the guy who takes things in and out, the coffee and tea, puts paperweights on the desk, that's the most important guy. Yeah. Whether you're in America, even Russia's Putin or Putin's Russia rather, or is it Russia's Putin? I don't know. Everywhere, this guy is the most important. So if you know anyone who's working and servicing accounts there, those are the guys we could get in touch with. And if anybody is watching the show and can give us inside information because you work in either the Vidhan Sabha or you work at, Sayadri or Matushri or the Varsha, or basically you're just outside the road. Because I realize a lot of bodyguards wearing purple suits and looking stupid. Maybe one of them has a better understanding of what's going on. But I would like this information. I'm feeling that fear like an exam of March 1st. Every day you look at the calendar, 25th, 26th, 27th, March 1st. Just don't want to be locked up again. God, no. And then face my building people again. And all the building people will be like, go back in. It's locked down. We'll all die. Oh, no mask.
But again, I think the thing is just that as well, right? I mean, we were all paranoid about this in
The
March,
first time.
April last year to a degree which I don't think we would again be now, because now we know stuff, right? I mean, do you remember how many, like, I know in my house, how many bottles of that antiseptic
Sanit-
spray, sanitizer
Yeah,
spray we
yeah,
you
used?
discussed that actually, Amit. A very important point, I think. The way we went on with the sanitizers in March, April, May, and if you look at say December, Jan now, there'll
Yeah.
be what, a 75% drop.
I would think so, at least. I mean, like, I carry a bottle of sanitizer when I go outside. I use it when I get
yeah,
into and out of a car. I'll use it after an ATM. I'll use it after an elevator. But that's it. I'm not like, going like this all the time. Packages which are coming into my house are not being sprayed for sanitization or like, as soon as they come in anymore. We've got an
yeah,
understanding of what we need to do and what we don't need to do. What we need to do is
And
we need to protect ourselves.
well, as a social and physical scientist of sorts, and I do my own research, I simply urinate on my hands from time to time because I believe that kills all toxins and destroys all germs or viruses or bacteria that can cause virus I. So, to each his own. But I think we've figured out different ways to survive. I've got a crew coming to shoot something. But now I have no choice because I can't use my office, so I have to bring them here. So I'm taking them to the terrace, for example, so they don't
Hmm.
meet anyone and they'll work from there, and they'll have to deal with whatever sunlight problems. But it's
But
what I'm saying is we've all innovated a little bit to survive through this
true.
partial lockdown thing, which I think is
yeah,
okay. We can live with that, but let's not go for a full severe one because I
yeah,
cannot stay in the same house all
I,
day.
I I I think that we're still in a partial lockdown. I feel like we're still in
It
a partial
is.
lockdown.
Yeah, of course it is.
Right, I mean, like, I'm not going for as many things as I could.
No.
Somebody wants to meet. I just got a message from somebody that, hey, can we meet sometime today or tomorrow? And I'm like, I don't know if I want to meet you. We can do this on a Zoom. I'll
So
meet
so
people
you
who I
tell me,
need
you're
to meet.
you're you're a businessman. Out of 100% meetings,
uh,
flesh meetings will be 30 or less, and
I, I
70% still Zoom.
I will say that once we go back, my general thinking around this stuff is we have realized that most things can happen over Zoom. It's important for me that team is in office and that we have an opportunity for team to brainstorm and team to work together and team to kind of interact with each other and that kind of stuff, right? But I am never going back to a situation where I would go to Andheri East for a meeting from Bandra, which would basically be half my day. That's not happening anymore. For the folks who work out of Andheri East, I will talk to you on a Zoom for now. For the folks who work out of Powai, I will talk to you
That's
on a Zoom.
such an elitist Valkeshwar thing to say.
But
But
dude, I'm
anyway, you're
talking
right.
about
You have
Bandra.
my support. Silvery, just want to point out, have you understood Amit's between the lines message to you here is you will attend the office and sit
you will
there.
stay in power.
You will
Yeah,
sit there and you will not move.
yeah,
Whatever the next virus is called, all right? He and I are
yeah.
going to do our meetings on Zoom. We'll
No, no,
stay
no,
in
no.
plush Malabar Hill. We're not moving.
No. I will also go to office. I will do my meetings from Zoom, from office on Zoom. I'm not
Yeah,
going to leave office and
Again,
go and meet
you
people
don't have to
randomly.
you don't have to sing this song to me, bro. If we in Mumbai do 3 meetings in 3 different parts of the city, your
Day
day
is
is fully
gone.
gone.
You
Okay, and
can't
all
do
you've done is
three.
commute.
You cannot do three meetings in three different parts
You
of the
can't.
city. You have to
And
club things in the
your
same
whole
part.
no, and there's no
yeah,
success quota there. If you look at
Yeah,
your cost to company, you've put in all this effort, and maybe the 3 meetings all went badly.
yeah.
You've wasted the whole day in a sense. While on Zoom, if things aren't going so well, all you've done is 7 minutes of 20 minutes of your time, and you try again.
yeah,
So I'm
I,
all for it.
I found a lot of efficiency hacks, right? So one thing I do now is my calendar default is 45 minutes and it's not an hour anymore. So by being a default 45 minutes when I'm sending somebody a calendar invite, they assume the meeting will be over in 30 minutes, which it is. And most meetings can be over in 30 minutes.
Because you don't do so much cha-cha. Even our lovely podcast doesn't have 17 minutes of hi, how are you? But a freaking physical meeting will be chai, coffee,
Yeah.
biscuits. How was the drive? What
yeah.
happened? A lockdown will happen, not happen. All that shit for 10, 15 minutes
Yeah.
will happen. It's just the
But
way it is. Yeah.
now our stop talk is, hey man, hope things are okay. Have you been going
Yeah.
out at all? Or are you still
So
stuck at home so much?
three
And then okay,
minutes,
get into the get
three
into
to
the
five
work.
minutes of foreplay and then hardcore sex for you. Am I right? This is
I
just a
would say
metaphor.
so.
Yeah.
Do not put off this podcast if you're watching live. My audience generally, I'm told, is over 70, so I don't want to upset
Yeah.
anyone. Who says 70 people are conservative? It's got nothing to do with age, man. Conservatism, as we will find out. Sylvie is dying to say something because he's lined up 12 topics and we never let him get into one because we start ranting
No,
about our
fine.
own lives. And it's always about Malabar Hill and Andheri. You realize it all comes back to the same problem. And somewhere someone's going to write and say, I hate these guys. People are dying of an epidemic. We've got all kinds of colossal failure across the world in terms of dealing with
Yeah.
it. And these two go on about Andheri. Andheri is the bad word. Kill Andheri. But
I
Andheri
love
is.
Andheri.
Shut up.
And
How dare you lie?
I love Andheri, man. It is Andheri is not bad. It's just so the attractiveness of Andheri is inversely proportional to the distance from the highway.
That's true. That's a
Yes.
very good point. I accept that totally. If it's off the highway, I'm okay. Not so
I'm
bad.
fine. Yeah.
But I think of it this way. It's
Also,
almost... Yeah, go on,
sorry, go
Sylvie.
ahead. I'm
No,
saying this
from...
Andheri East and Andheri West are very different from each other. Andheri West is a lot more attractive. Andheri East is not as much.
No,
Although
but you know,
Powai is in
No,
Andheri
no,
East.
no, no. Depends.
But,
Andheri
yeah.
is for us is shorter, no, generally because it's just
Yeah.
off. If it's just off, we take that. I don't care about what the buildings look like. Buildings look
Yeah.
like it's immaterial or who the people are.
That's true.
I mean, what is this thing from college days? You know, what's the crowd like? Is that really a thing? I've you know, throughout MTV early days going to college, the crowd in Stevens is better. What the hell does that mean? Really? I mean, what are these all great human beings who've, you know, pious and holy and done a lot for the world's welfare? What does a crowd mean? I've never got that. It's the most racist, prejudiced, and casteist, communalist, classist statement you can make. The crowd. So Mumbai, Amit, am I wrong to say we are the most
No. It is
crowd crazy?
So you're thinking, even in our age, yeah. Even in our time.
Did you guys use terms like this? What's the
Yeah,
crowd's
Yeah, exactly.
terrible
We
here?
did. And now that I'm thinking about it, it's so nonsensical. Like, what does that ever mean? Nobody
Really?
ever.
Yeah, listen, let's be very brutal and honest about what that is, right? We're asking, are the poor people there? That's what we're asking.
It comes from there, and
That's where it
the
comes
words like
from.
vernacular. When later on,
Yeah.
as you know, go up in life, you find some of your best friends, you know, have really strong accents. How shallow can we really be? Because I mean, if you don't mix up the group, the whole group sucks after some
But
time. You can't just-
that's exactly right. I think that as you get older, you realize that is a stupid ass way to think about things, right? I don't think about that anymore like that, but I know that when I was 15 and 16 years old, you would, what was that? What was the discotheque in Horizon Hotel?
banana, go bananas.
Not Go Banana,
Go
Xanadu.
bananas.
Xanadu.
Xanadu.
Yeah. So,
Xanadu with
you
an
know,
X. Silvery can't
exactly.
pronounce it.
So after the first couple of years, I remember that people would always say, "Ki Xanadu mein crowd kharab hai." You know, I mean, the crowd's not good at Xanadu.
Kharab, the word is a bad. They would use
Yeah.
stronger words than kharab. Like
Yeah.
crap crowd, bad
Yeah,
crowd. Yeah, we can't go
exactly.
there. Crowd is terrible. What the
Crowd is shit. Yeah,
And you've not
exactly.
even gone there. Huh? You're predicting that the crowd is there. It's not like he's gone there and called you and said terrible people. Yeah, wow.
Well,
I wonder if we were all called bad crowd by some other group. There must be some group who
I'm
said,
sure we were.
bad crowd.
Listen, I'm sure that. So I've been called a bad influence many times, right? I mean, like I'm a terrible
Hence you
influence.
turn to podcast.
So
to
that I
weave
don't
your
influence.
Yeah.
No, but I have been called. I am not considered to be the greatest influence. I come from a conservative Gujarati family, dude. I mean, like, and I incite insurrection amongst my nieces and nephews. So I mean, like, you know, I'm not a good influence.
Oh,
in that
you're the
sense.
rebel in the family. I get it.
Yes.
Fair enough. Yeah,
Yes.
And you are actually. You're very. If you want to look at it from a stereotype, you're really not that.
Yeah.
So that's scary. So
Yeah,
what do you do at the
and-
family functions? You sit alone. You're the black sheep. They write.
No, I'm very.
Kalo,
I talk.
No, he's,
Kalo Bakro.
he's
They write on
inciting
your-
his nieces and nephews.
Yeah, I talk to everybody. No, I talk to absolutely everybody. But I kind of tell you know that, hey, no, you shouldn't necessarily sit at home. You should go out. You should go for a dinner. You should go
But
for
Silvery is the same actually. Silvery is against the mold, isn't he? Doing stand-up comedy from a business family, blah blah. His views on politics and everything else is a little different. So
yeah,
he's also.
I would say, yeah.
I think they just tolerate you right now because your influence is not strong in other family members, etc. But as you get older, maybe it'll all change. You'll be the most hated
Very
member.
true. That's very
You'll feel like a
possible,
farmer in the agitation with the central government around you. It'll be like there'll be no love lost there. Oof, ouch, terrible metaphor. I take it back. I swallow it and I
Yeah.
apologize to all parties.
Sorry,
sorry.
mommy. She's still watching. Yeah.
Who is still watching? I'm sorry.
Yeah.
But you're not out of
That's
control
right.
like Amit. Amit is out of Amit, I think, has like a bee in his bonnet. He could have been could be a politician. Because he needs to put his point across and he doesn't stop till he does. Silvery, you on the other hand, you put your point across and then you'll back off a little bit and get on with your life. So I think the problem with him is his conviction is more, which is scary. People with conviction are very scary, good and bad, because they are not flexible enough. And in the end, because of that, there's a fight. But people like you and me, Silvery, luckily, even though we care or don't care, we back off. And you're not even married. How did you learn to be so flexible? Lovely. It's a wonderful gesture.
Just watching a lot of The Big Lebowski and being a pacifist.
Oh, what a film. I love that film.
Yeah.
Really. I wanted to name my doggy the Big Lebowski, but she was a female and my wife said no.
Great name.
I don't know. Again, prejudice of some sort. Okay, let's get on with the crowd here. This is a classy crowd. Kya crowd hai yaar? Intro de. Intro. Only that chick yaar. And the other thing about intro, with intro in the 80s and 90s was what? Intro means the girl likes you. Are you mental? If you just say, hi, this is Aparna, this is Rajiv. No, that's it. That doesn't mean there's a marriage in 7 days. But the men would always think they've reached the moon.
It's the first step.
But is it that huge a step in a crowd
the
of
biggest
500
step.
people in the college?
Okay, I'm going to give you like a Chinese philosophy proverb, right? The biggest step on any journey is the first step.
And what
This
happens
is
to the second step?
well, the second step follows from the first step, but without the first step, there is no second step.
What if you get pushed back?
Well, I mean, you have to take
No
your
reference
first.
to 62. No reference to 62. Sorry. Ouch. Oof. Yeah. No,
I've been reading a lot of Chinese novels, and so this is a fairly common kind of phrase that
I
you keep
thought we were
hearing about
told to
it.
boycott everything Chinese.
I like reading Chinese martial arts novels.
You've been into martial
Wow.
arts, so it's now a slightly more worldly
No, but
concept.
it is. Well, actually, no. This is the stupidest shit in the world to read. This is worse than Antariksh's manga obsession, right? I mean, like I read worse stuff than
Hey,
that.
what's wrong with that?
I
It's
love
feeding
manga.
one side of your personality. Doesn't mean you're holistically just this one thing.
No, it's not.
It's
I
like you
like
read
it.
Mills and Boone. Doesn't mean you're an idiot for romance. So that's all that's in your life. You might be a great scientist who's
Okay,
rediscovered the atom.
I'll tell you my problem with the Chinese novels I read or manga
They're
like
in
Antariksh
Chinese.
does, right? No, it's so
Okay.
much and it's all consuming. When you start doing it, correct me if you're wrong, Antariksh, but when you're really into a
Yeah.
manga, will you not spend 3-4 hours a day on it?
Oh, absolutely. But the
There you
thing is,
go.
the manga that I read now, I am up to date with. So I have to wait the next week anyway. So
That's fine. But
it's
now
fine.
the next
Not
time you find a new one, will you not be obsessed three, four
exactly.
hours a day with it?
I'm dreading that. Exactly. I'm dreading that.
That's the
Exactly.
problem I have with these Chinese
Yeah.
novels that I read, right? Sometimes I'll just start going with them and it's like, okay, read until you go to like, you read for 2 hours after you wake up in the morning at 6 o'clock, start reading again. I mean, like
But
it's stupid how
but are you
how
inspired to do
addictive
the
they are.
steps, and are you inspired to actually try
Oh
out
no,
some
yeah, these are
martial art
all
moves?
magical fantasy
Impossible, like
things.
going on a tree and
Yeah.
then jumping across the two cities from Beijing.
It's not even that. It's like,
Yeah.
turning my sword into a laser beam, which is going to destroy a
Wow.
city.
So
It's nonsense.
it's Star Wars, the Chinese version.
Yeah,
Yeah.
it's
Um,
nonsense. It's fun nonsense, but it's nonsense.
Old Chinese proverb, there is no nonsense. Well, coming from China. All right. And manga, if the
Uh,
comics are about news, is it manga nanga? Or that would not be it.
That
Silvery,
would not be
Uh,
it. Sorry. No, that's
pregnant
exactly it,
pause.
Cyrus.
What's I gotta find something in it for me. So okay, shall we go to topic one at 10:17 on the
Yeah.
live telecast? Which
let's
means for
do that.
Yeah.
17
Sure.
minutes we have done rubbish as usual, which is 1/3 of
Yeah.
the program. Okay.
But we already kind of talked about the COVID the lockdown and all coming back up, which was one of the topics.
Yeah.
And to add to that, there is a new strain which has been discovered in Maharashtra. This is the AIMS chief, Dr. Randeep Guleria, has said that there's a new strain in Maharashtra, and this strain might be more. It might transmissible,
What's the right word? It's
highly
more.
transmissible and dangerous than the current strain that we've been encountering this entire time.
What
So which
does
So,
that
is
mean?
but one second, they're using words like may, not definitely. This is also, I suppose that they don't have enough knowledge or what, I have no idea, but it's
no,
always
no.
this
Sorry,
maybe.
sorry. I paraphrase it to May. They are saying is the strain
Is
is more
definitely
transmissible, yeah, and
Okay.
dangerous.
more
That's what they say.
potent, basically, than the
More
last one.
potent, more easily contagious,
Possible.
maybe stays on
Contagious! If
surfaces,
we
maybe
work together, we'll
stays on
find the word.
surfaces longer. That's the
Yeah.
thing, yeah. So
Okay.
so I think yeah, this is like the whole thing from US, UK, right?
I
Now
think
there are
it's
strains coming up in
no. I
Maharashtra
think it's
also.
from
They're coming
Brazil.
up in
Huh?
different parts of
The
the country.
Brazil. No, this is called. From what I heard, it's the Brazil strain. Now, somebody is two people came from Brazil recently. Let's call them Ronaldo and Ronaldinho because I don't know who they were. And apparently they have transferred what is this new xenophobic, if you like, strain which is coming from South America. And so now people get more flummoxed and more scared because that's the real dark continent, South America, and then very little about it beyond football. And so that's another huge thing to carry on your head. But still, I'm thinking, don't go for full lockdown. Whatever happens, just figure this out here. I know numbers are surging. It's all about death count for me. I've never looked at people falling sick. The death count is the
Well,
issue. And
And,
now I'm
and numbers.
wondering if a lot of people who died, Amit Doshi, please correct me if I'm wrong, because this is always devil's advocate, the other side. I'm wondering that if you look at the figures of people who've died, many had these congenital diseases, which they probably would have died of any other disease, because you're already weakened. So a big disease like, say, malaria, big strain, or cholera, big strain, or cancer, whatever, you're already crippled. So anything big coming your way, you're anyway in trouble. You know what I'm saying?
No, most comorbidities are manageable, right? Most comorbidities right now that you would have, diabetes, breathing issues, obesity, The
So
heart
you're
issues,
telling me,
heart
Dr.
disease.
Amit Doshi, you're telling me every single person who has died because of COVID and COVID alone?
Yes. Not
No other
so, no, so I mean, like comorbidities, by definition, comorbidities mean that they increase your susceptibleness to COVID. But if you didn't have COVID, you would not have died. You might
Yeah,
have died 6 months from now, you might have died 3 months from now, you might have died a year from now, you might have died 10 years from now.
note
But
to self, we will discuss this in 7 years when we
no,
know
dude, I
much
have
more about this disease.
no, but I
I
honestly, dude, I have zero problem with, like, kind of thinking about this and saying that COVID is responsible, right? I mean, like, the thing that is the proximate cause of the death is the cause of the death, right? And if anything, we have underreported COVID deaths. Because I mean, like, I've seen a lot of, like, how we are doing with testing, especially on the backside of things, right? I've spoken to numerous people who right now who they don't test after a positive test, right? You get the first positive test, they don't get a test to get negative because of the way that these things are set up, so that the government will lock you. If you are no longer showing symptoms and you test positive again, government's still going to lock you in your house again for another 20 days, right?
so you
So
don't
people,
test.
you don't test on the back end of it.
But my producer Mohit, who got it, had to
uh,
test in 14 days again.
well, nowadays a lot of doctors are telling their patients don't test. So
Let me
there are
talk to them.
all these leakages are happening now, right? In terms of how we're dealing with this stuff. So, but no, my point being that nonetheless, I mean, like, what I was trying to say here is that you place the reason for somebody dying, right, is COVID, because COVID accelerated the death. Even if somebody was going to die tomorrow and COVID made them die today,
If he had
COVID accelerated
compromised
it.
lungs and he got a terrible strain of dysentery, a
Huh.
really, really severe one, he could still die.
Yes,
So how do we know that he's died only of COVID? Is what I'm saying.
because COVID is the thing instead of dysentery. Now, if he had got COVID instead, that time we would say he died of dysentery. This time we're saying he died of COVID.
Okay, I hear what you're saying. Once you've done the COVID test, you just won't take the blame for
No,
the COVID test. But I'm still out on this. I want to wait 7 years and figure this out because I
I
think perspective
don't.
will give us an
Okay,
idea.
sure. We can always look at perspective is always great, right? But I mean, like, I mean, like, people to say that somebody would have died anyway, right, does not excuse.
Not necessarily, but in some cases, I'm saying in any
uh,
case, when you've got this already what's it, this thing,
Immune suppressant response or whatever that may be, right?
that's
So
the
many
words I
different
was
things.
looking for. Thank you.
Hmm.
Once you have that, you're already on the back foot. That's all I'm trying to say. So do you just need COVID to knock you out, or
No,
even
but
your wife telling you to get up
okay.
and leave the
So
room is
here's the
enough?
thing. So somebody who is going to die tomorrow, because we know that the body is giving up, cancer is giving up, this, that, all that.
Exactly.
We know that body. We know that person is going to die tomorrow. Okay. Somebody goes and shoots them. Who killed that? Did that person get killed or did that person die? Did cancer kill him or the person kill him?
Yeah, but all we can say is that they were en route to die. They just died a little earlier
A
due to
little
whatever.
earlier, but little earlier still, the person who killed them. And I'm not saying, like, I'm not making a suicide argument.
So
I'm
you're saying
saying
the
somebody is
faster
going
death
to
is
die
happening because
and
of
somebody
COVID.
killed him. Exactly.
But then if that's your point, then if it's all relative, then we are all going to die someday. So
Well,
then
we
the
are all
faster,
going to.
yeah. So the faster death
No, so
theory
but then
also
what
is a
is?
little nonsensical.
No, it's not. It's the appropriate theory, right? Because it answers your argument. It is the causal. It's the cause of death. The cause of death is COVID. The cause of death is a bullet. The cause of death is whatever it may be,
Okay,
right?
let's move it to slightly more serious topic, which is that the center immediately sent the 4-5 states who had the surge letters saying, "What are you doing?" Which sounds like it's almost like they caught you. I caught you. So Punjab, Kerala, Maharashtra, I caught you. I think Punjab, of course, wrote back that this letter is not in Punjabi, so we're disregarding it immediately. And fair enough. Amarinder doesn't tolerate anyone. I love Amarinder. He's the kind of leader I like. He's got that slightly Nawab bit. He is from the royal family. So he's got that,
Yeah.
devil may care, like you just, lack of respect for everyone, but in a nice way. Yeah. If we grew up together, we'd have been friends, Amarinder and I. Of
but
course, we watches this program. I suppose that would end it. But yeah. All right, Silvery, where were we?
but yeah, but I'm saying, in all seriousness, what can really be done if cases are spiking? Like, because we have seen this entire time that all these restrictions and all, they help for a certain time and then everyone gets over it. So
Well,
even
then
if it starts
we
again,
Also, again, to cripple the economy. We've
just
already on the back foot after 6 months of nothing, etc. It's a huge thing to
yeah,
do. I don't think he's going to do it because Maharashtra is all about business. We're a commerce country. I don't get it.
exactly.
State.
Yeah.
So, frankly speaking, we have to we've discussed this to death. The economic depravity versus the actual emergency from medical issues or whatever you want to call it. Which worm is higher, growing faster, and the suffering will carry on for how many generations from vis-a-vis A versus B? You know, And what about this vaccine? We've started giving the vaccine. So this vaccine
So
is not going to
that's
work on the second strain?
it probably will work. It will at least have some degree of efficacy, and that's the solution here, right? I mean, like, how are we going to get out of lockdown, complete lockdown, completely get out of this so that life goes back to normal? Is through vaccine. It is not happening in any other way, right? In the meantime, they're trying
Yeah.
to minimize deaths, and I mean, like, if a couple of hundred people were dying just randomly, we would not be okay with that, and so we should not be okay with the government just letting a couple of hundred people die on the altar of whatever that may be, right? I think that listen, I think the appropriate response is to buckle down on things that we know work: social distancing,
You can't
minimize
blame
the
the
number of
government.
people.
I give it to them. What can they say? They have to shout and scream about the same 4 5 things and say
Yeah,
just maintain this so
Yeah.
that our chances are better.
that's
But
all they
whether
can
you
do.
maintain or don't maintain, that behemoth carries on, and finds its way into your
Un-
bodies and family and friends and all that.
until we get the vaccines, right? Until we all get vaccinated, or at least most of us get vaccinated. That's what kills it, right? 70, 75%, I think 72 or 75% is the number that basically gives us herd immunity. So that many people need to have COVID antibodies and need to have the vaccine combined, and then the disease will die.
There's another theory. If you
So
breathe only
again,
from your left nostril for a day and then right nostril for the next day and alternate like that, you'll be able to take on anything and your immunity goes up like about 5,000%.
They do that at these things, no? At these yoga camps, they make you do this kind of
Yeah.
stuff.
I'm not, this is
Yeah,
not, it sounds flippant, but there's a
yeah.
theory of the breath controlling the immunity in the body, the ability
Mhm.
to resist rather anything that comes from outside. So now, as we get more desperate, we will turn to that. I don't see the reason why not to. All it means is just you clip this here and then you breathe only from there. You just have to clip it somehow or the other. There's a way to do that. Or if you have a guy who owes you money, he puts his finger here, right here, and for the whole day spends time with you. Something like that. Silvery, should we take a break?
yes.
It's
We should.
11:07. We'll take a break. Very
We should.
hard, tragic topics. But when we come back, something lighter, I hope, guys.
Yeah.
Because our 33 people listening, now that there's no Aisha on the show, they've all disappeared. Yeah.
No, we got a good number. We have
We
120
have
live.
121 people. Yeah. Okay.
120. Oh, God, I hope none of them have COVID. God forbid. Okay, all right. We'll be back in a second. All right, back here. Apologize to all listeners, viewers, whatever you want to call listeners, like vlog. Let's make a new term because we're audio, but we've allowed video. But audio is the dominant part. So should we be listeners?
Um, our
Yeah, we should be
I don't know.
different. It can't be
Yeah, I
viewer
guess
or listener. We're different.
we need to come up with a third way,
We
like
need
a middle terminology,
exactly
the
because
middle part.
it's absolutely because the audio is stronger. It's the only medium where the audio is stronger than the visual. Hence, ugly people can have a field day here.
So
But
you know how there are soothsayers. We'll call them Cyrus sayers. No? Okay, fine. I guess not.
Ah,
I just,
so
I
let me. It's fine. Let's move on.
yeah, no, but we need to come up with a term for a term of art, a description term, right? For
it doesn't have to
people
be
who
for
are
us. It's
both
for all
viewers,
podcasts.
exactly, viewers
It's
and
our
listeners,
gift.
because we have so many more of these video podcasts coming out now, right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
So
For example, people who behave badly in mobs, we call them animals, like that. We have to find something which actually fits
Okay.
properly. Because you're both a viewer and a listener, but in my
Yeah.
belief, you're a listener first and a viewer second.
yes,
Otherwise,
You-
the best podcast would be what? Naomi Campbell or who's the prettiest model today? I have no idea.
I have no idea either.
Somebody in 2020 say Silvery, save us. Google Silvery. You're not in Australia.
I-
You're not in Australia. You can Google in peace. Come on.
I've heard of the name Gigi Hadid. That's the name I know.
Gigi
I don't.
Hadid. Sounds like a
Gigi
girl
Hadid.
band. Gigi and the Hadids.
Yeah.
Okay. Gotta Google that, ladies and
Oh,
gentlemen. Gigi Hadid.
we are out
Ouch.
of touch.
Oh.
I hope this is a woman, firstly. What is it? G dot G dot. Is it Ganjam by Gangaram Hadid? Ouch.
Audience. There we go. Audience. Siddharth Vishnu suggested audience.
But audience is already there. I want a new word. The birth of a new word. Can you imagine the music we can play with that?
Yeah, that is true. Still Waters Night Sky suggests we listeners.
But that's what I said, listeners.
yeah.
Like how the vlog came.
Listeners.
Yeah, the vlog listeners. How about we go the other way with that?
See, that'll confuse Germans, Bengalis, because the Berber issue will happen. Biharis, you got to match the letters
Hey,
to
wow.
make sense.
So, Siddharth Vishnu suggested brochers, like poachers. Brochers.
But that's to me. The point is, this is about the medium. It's
Oh,
far
you want like for the
beyond
whole
me.
medium? Okay. Oh,
Yeah, so we need to figure, just like how you say spectators for sport, I suppose, because it's viewing first.
Right.
Amarpreet Singh said Velas. We'll call them Velas.
That's good. Amarpreet, you win the prize. That's good. That's lovely. Finally, a man who speaks the truth. Amarpreet for president. Yeah, in America. Yeah, we are very happy with
Okay.
everybody.
All
Right.
right,
Let's get to one main
I
interesting
beg
story
you to. I beg
before.
you to. 10:30. You must.
Okay. Yeah. Texas is going through a massive freeze disaster. Where they're calling the Texas freeze
Cold.
disaster,
Yeah.
where all of Texas is basically under ice. Everywhere,
Mhm.
if you there are like crazy posts going viral where cars are under like almost like a foot of ice. In your bathroom, if you put on the faucet, the water freezes. People's dog food has been freezing, so the dog is not able to eat. People go to the toilet, their toilet is frozen. From the fan, there are icicles forming down from the fan. I saw one pic where there is a this car was like standing in like a, I don't know, like a basement or like a parking garage, and there's like a drop, like a thing of water, like a small dhar of water falling on the car. That whole dhar of water is frozen, falling on the car, and the car is frozen because of it. So
See, my
insane
reaction,
levels of freezing.
Silvery, my reaction to all this is, and it's a big question, the philosophical question: how and why did America become a third world country? I mean, this is the kind of thing you
Yeah.
never. I mean, growing up, I mean, they were like the perfect country. They didn't have those
Yeah.
California
So
storms and all, and typhoons and all that they have in the last 20 years. So this is scary. And Texas, for me, as a cowboy movie lover genre, is all about really hot deserts and hot sun, and
yeah.
there's no sense of cold. But of course, our American expert will tell you that is not so. Desert climate, so both extremes are present and prevalent.
No, but so Texas, this is unexpected, right? Texas doesn't get snow and
Yeah.
snow and ice like this. It was
Yeah.
completely unexpected, which
God
is why they got
punishing
fucked
America
up.
for choosing Trump.
Yeah,
No,
the problem actually that happened is that their power grid, their entire electricity grid in Texas is apparently failing, or has failed rather,
multiple
because of
times.
which because of which like almost like I want to say like 40% of the state or 50% of the state is without electricity
So
and without
Wow.
power in these super trying times. So people
Yeah.
are not able to warm up their own houses. It is
Yeah.
crazy.
Oh boy. So unless you
Uh,
came from Calcutta in the first place, you're not prepared for this. This is amazing. But
no,
what
but
happens to
but that is a problem to consider. Now think about what would happen to us in Bombay if it started snowing instead of raining,
Yeah,
right?
we would
I
we
mean,
would
would
like
love
not
it
it.
agree
is.
with it.
I
I
would
would love
love
it
it.
too. I would love the temperature. I would love the this of it. But just
Yeah,
think
but we don't
about
know.
what would happen
Yeah.
to the infrastructure of the city, right? Instead of snow, instead of rain, if we had snow, and snow which led into ice, right? That would have been like a major issue, right?
I think it'd be great. Firstly, those drivers who hang around the lane doing nothing, sitting on cars and all will disappear, as will the cars. So
Mhm.
that'll be fabulous. And I think we'll get a lockdown feeling again because there'll be nobody around. So I can't complain having been in a
Yeah.
hot sauna for so long. But it's amazing. Do you believe in all this biblical or godlike reasons
No,
for
I
all
don't
this?
believe in biblical reasons for this. I
But,
believe
but,
in
but, but, but
man-made
it's like the
reasons for
plague,
this.
it's like you just mentioned, it's against the run of plague again. Where did this come from? How did Texas get snow or ice? No
Uh,
historical data for that.
I think the answer to that would be climate change.
The erudite scientist points in the way of the ignorant who ran the country for 4 years, including the state of Texas. I think Republican state, isn't it?
Well,
Without a doubt.
always a
Yeah.
Republican state.
Uh,
Because of Republican state, so
wow,
much
that's
nonsense
karma.
as well. Yeah,
That's
but
true.
so much craziness also, right? I mean, like a lot of this so there is this there's this power company, okay, based out of Texas. So Texas is the home of Enron. They've been doing energy dealing and stuff like that for the longest time, right? And so because of that, they're like really a little too far, I would say. I would not even say the cutting edge. I would say way beyond what the edge should be of, like, the way that their power systems are, or where the power billing works, right? So there are over 200 electric companies in Texas. Okay. One of these companies it basically tags your bill to the cost of wholesale electricity. Okay, so what is the cost of wholesale power that's being acquired by the grid? Based on that, your bill will be generated. Most people lost electricity during this thing, or a lot of people lost electricity during this thing. There were a few people who had it on. A bunch of people who had it on, people got like bills like 16,000. Normal bills are like
Yeah.
70, $80 a month. Okay.
This is for
Yeah.
like normal electricity,
Normal
not some huge
electricity.
generator in your house.
No, but just normal electricity. People got bills of like
Wow.
16,000, 18,000,
Think about that poor
25,000.
lady who used an electric vibrator. and then get $16,000 bill. I mean, it's really not fair. Think of the small things that cost so much. Ouch.
But it's a really kind of bizarre this now that I mean like they went so far in this deregulation. They gave absolutely no protection to their customers, their consumers.
Yeah, well, Texas should outsource to India. We'll solve their problems. I'm sure the Adani conglomerate or the Tata's electric board or even the BST, for what it's worth, will come to the party and help them, because our ways have been scoffed at. But right now, who's the first world country? God, I sound like the center. Who it is? Who it is number one?
But think about how
just
much
measuring my body parts. One sec.
think about how much we cribbed when our electricity bills changed moderately at the start of the
moderately. They didn't change moderately. You know what they did? They played catch up. So they gave you an amount for 3 months and then said, okay, we're giving you a nullified amount for whatever reason because of the tragedy and the pandemic. And now we're playing catch up. I don't like catch up. Once you give me the bill, that's your bill.
They were not able to send their people out to do meter inspections. That's why
not
the bills
my
were
problem,
not
brother. Not my problem. Once you send me a bill, then don't send me a bill. Send
During
me a
a lockdown, it is a problem.
No, they should have just said, look, we can't send you a bill. We're trying to figure out what's happening. They send me a bill. We paid the bill. We pay the next month's bill, the third month's bill. The fourth month, they send me an extra bill. Saying now this is catch-up time, so every month we're adding. What the hell is that? I mean, that's the reverse mutual fund thinking. I mean, this is horrible. What a horrible thought.
No, but I mean, like, see how pissed off we were, and our bills went from like 4,000 to 6,000 or 7,000, right? This poor woman, her bill went from like $80 to $16,000.
Well, how did she pay it?
And the thing is that they're all set up for automatic deductions, right? So she had $200 straight from the bank account.
Oh, she'll have to sell her husband. Oops, ouch.
So, I mean, like, to be fair to the company, the electric company which sent out the bill, they actually warned everybody 2 weeks, a week before the blizzard happened that, hey, switch your billing. Again, you can move fairly easily. They send a warning to everybody that, hey, this we're anticipating this really big weather problem.
Because you can't change the algorithm to sort out the mess. So you change your billing.
Well, no, because again, the way they are set up is that basically if they are supplying electricity on one hand, they're buying it on the other hand, right? And so they are set up in a way where their entire business is built like that. They're just taking a 2%. No, they're not. They're taking like $9.99. So, I mean, like, it's an interesting experiment from business perspective and actually makes a lot of sense for like larger companies.
Yeah.
Right. But they are charging a fixed fee for managing your electric transmission and billing, but you pay what is the wholesale price. So it's actually an interesting idea, but it's not for consumers.
I would like to quote Martin Luther King and, misquote him and say that I want to live in a world where electricity is free for all people of all color and all races and all genders. Free electricity. I think that should be the way. You pay your taxes, you have to get something back. And one of the things I've always wanted was electricity and, of course, petrol or electric cars. So we don't have this petrol diesel issue. We don't have time for that, bro. It's nearly 10:37. Can we go straight into the AMAs?
Let's go into the AMAs.
Let's see what people have to say.
Before the AMAs, we should talk about the Ted Cruz incident that happened because it's related to the same Texas thing. Ted Cruz is the senator from Texas, one of the senators from Texas.
Yeah.
And he was basically caught amid this whole freezing disaster thing, that's going on. All his constituents are going crazy. People are panicking. People don't have incomes. Again, everything is shut down. It's crazy. In the middle of all this, Ted Cruz is caught at the airport, fleeing to Cancun, Mexico. And then he got caught at the airport. And there are memes of him at the airport wearing a mask that have been insanely going viral. I saw one where he's the Mars rover is seeing Ted Cruz just vacationing on Mars. It's crazy. So there's one. So basically, he got caught now, and after reaching Mexico, then he was like now on
hey,
like how do I control the situation? Right? He was thinking.
Right.
So
no, but the good thing is, you can see it like a. Sorry, you want to say more?
Yeah, just a little bit. So basically, he came up with an excuse saying, "Oh no. My daughters were traveling with their friends to Cancun for a vacation. So being a good father, I had to escort them. I was gonna be back in a day anyway." But then he had to come back after like 2 days.
I think you're doing him an injustice and disservice, because I think the planning is far more sophisticated than we think. He went there because in case Texas is completely eliminated and annihilated, he can restart Texas from Mexico, which in any case is always a disputing point. So I feel he's looking within and figured out a way forward for the race of Texans to come back through him. Dare I say, and his daughters, but not in that way. But whatever's okay. Amit is now getting worried that we've reached the line of actual non-control. But it's like Noah's Ark. So he takes a few people and he restarts in Mexico. Well done, Ted. You have my full support. But I don't we get what we deserve? They say in terms of leadership. Isn't that
Oh
a
God,
famous saying?
absolutely.
Yeah.
He's the
Yeah.
worst, man. Like, so I mean,
He's
like,
the worst.
I think you were talking about this earlier, right? You were calling him Donald Trump's heir apparent. And as you were saying that, I was just like, actually, he's not really, because Donald Trump is like, in the old Hindi movies, the village villains, right?
Yeah,
There was the
Zamindar.
Thakur, there was a
Yeah,
Zamindar, the
Thakur.
Thakur,
Yeah.
right? So that's Donald Trump, right? Like, this guy who is
The rich,
explicitly
unempathetic man. Yeah.
evil, unempathetic, like,
This guy plays the son of the soil card and one of
he
the son
no
of an
no
immigrant
he's
and all that. Yeah.
no, he's the Munim.
Yeah.
He's a fucker who's just as slimy, worse probably in every single way, but he doesn't have the balls to go out and be like that, right? I can't stand Ted Cruz. He's the worst.
I don't know. Anything with ends with Cruz is a problem with me ever since I had that 6 hours in Santa Cruz coming to the office that day in the rain. I'll never forget that. But shall we move on to the AMAs, Silvery?
Yes,
Yes,
let's
yes,
do it.
yes.
Already,
Yeah.
without exhausting two topics, we reached 40 minutes. Either we're really good at talking and conversation or we're real shit. Oh, I'm going to go ask the listeners to come up with a better word than Velas. We have
We got
to
a lot
find
of
something
questions.
else.
We have a lot of questions in the thing today.
A
So
lot
go
of
on.
questions. Yes. Yeah. All right. The first one. So we got a few questions even before we started the live stream. So people are like waiting with questions. First one comes in from Akshay K. He says, "Hi guys. Whether Cyrus says team likes streaming over Zoom every day or recording the show from the studio, what do you guys like more?"
oh God, that's
I
not
think the
even close.
studio.
Studio.
Yeah,
God,
it's
yeah.
not obviously studio guys. Yeah.
Yeah,
We
Studio
have
from point of
so
view
much
of
more control
interacting
on
with
everything. The studio.
also, look, we talk over each other. Of course, I talk over everybody, even there. But the point is, you're watching people, so the interaction
It's
is
a,
much easier.
it is,
You know,
yeah.
maybe for Silvery's generation, they're just born into this, so they're better at picking up the clues and cues. But for me personally, I think just talking to people direct is much easier. And
Also,
also,
technical challenges, right? I mean,
Yeah.
listen, we have sound problems on this thing.
all the
Probably
time.
1 out of 6 episodes, 1 out of 5 episodes. Once a week, we have a sound problem of
Last
some
Thursday,
nature.
we had the best episode ever.
Yeah.
We had 3 lines of coherence.
It
Yeah.
was amazing. Yeah, I mean, but I mean,
But we went down with the ship, not like Ted Cruz. We didn't flee. We could have run, Amit. You could have run. I could have run. We stayed there. We even allowed Kunal dressed as a woman to come over my shoulder at some point. Yeah. So kudos to us. Yeah.
Yeah,
So you were saying
no, but
tech
I mean,
challenges.
tech challenges, right? I mean, I would prefer everything to happen out of the studio, even if we start bringing in guests via Zoom, which is something that we should maybe expand to now that we've done so much Zoom, right? Where earlier we were having the guests come into the studio every time. This time, maybe we can start getting guests from Zoom. But I need the studio for us, right? I mean, like having a sound engineer, having producer,
Yeah.
having social media stuff being done while we're in the right now. I mean, like our social media over the pandemic's been, I mean, like it's been uneven, right? I mean, like because we don't have all those pictures of guests that we had in studios earlier, right?
Yeah.
That was
And they're
that was a
sending us
big
passport photos of themselves anyway, which is horrible.
yeah,
Yeah.
exactly. So yeah, so
True.
I would much prefer going back to the studio.
Studio. And
Next
plus
one
we get I get a lassi when I go there every time.
That
A
is
nice
true.
sweet lassi, which I miss. So very Malba Hill
And
lassi
your
is all
kebabs.
thin.
Your
Kebabs, yeah,
also.
kebabs too.
Yeah.
I didn't want to push it because I'll sound like some spoiled, entitled elitist
No,
who goes
but
there and is fed just to talk
but
for 20 minutes, mostly about
I,
himself. It's
I'll
pointless.
say this though. I mean, like every time I've gone to office, the first thing I've done is lunch from Rajasthan. I cannot have the Rajasthan kebabs, man. Those things are
Very
ridiculous.
But
good.
Rajasthan
My
shut down,
daughter
I think,
sold on them.
didn't it?
No,
No,
it's
no,
not
no,
shut
no, no,
down.
no. Kunal just
Okay,
bought
okay,
last
okay.
week and brought home.
Oh, okay,
Yeah,
cool.
we
Because
Cool.
my daughter loves the shami kebab
yeah.
from there. So
Every
Yeah,
Chile
time.
cool.
restaurants have their market, bro.
Yeah.
If you got a taste for all this. Anyway, next
Yeah.
one.
All right, next one comes in from Vader97. He says, "What was the conversation like between Cyrus and Aisha after the previous episode aired? It was really one of the best ones so far."
It was like Simon and Garfunkel's most famous song, Sounds of Silence. That's how you survive marriages. But my wife, now I hope she doesn't see this because now her running group has started watching our podcast because we spoke to Ashish contractor, blah, blah, blah. So I think a little of that is happening. So she's getting feedback even if she doesn't watch. So I have to be careful. I'm on thin ice. Sorry, Texas, thin ice. But I got to say, she got some 300 more people on her Insta because of this podcast.
Oh
Okay?
wow!
And she doesn't have that many listeners or whatever you want to call them, Insta followers. And she came in. And this is what I love about Indians. We do this whole thing about, when you're feeling one thing, but you say another thing. We do it all the time. So she came and said, Oh God, your stupid podcast. I got 300 more followers. Inside shining and smiling, And then you say this. And I'm like, really? To help improve your fledgling art career, the 300, 400 followers count, I mean, you're not Amitabh Bachchan, so every 100 is a big leap. But yeah. So I think secretly, Amit, and I hope it's not played back to her, she is loving the attention and the fact that you told her it was the highest rated show and all. So I'm thinking that maybe I'm the guy. Why waste time with this idiot? I should be the one doing the podcast. Do the maths. I'm the only commonality is me for the successful podcast. So, take him out and leave me for the rest. Simple mathematics.
I think this one did well too. I mean, like the so far it's done well, right? The episode we
You've created a monster. Although, why do we have Kunal there? He's like a drape, one of curtains that you don't open. You just keep him in the background. Then he'll pontificate for half an hour. Kunal, I can't take Kunal. Can somebody take Kunal from me? His conversations are too slow. I think I have to put him on TRT. That's test replacement therapy. Yes, Silvery, next.
All right. Vader97 also, he has a comment saying, please do more episodes without guests. It's amazing that how you guys create gold content. Thank you so much, Vader.
Can I say something? And Amit and I have discussed this offline since we are candid form here and we just, speak candidly. We've discussed this and no disrespect to guests because there's some really good episodes with guests also. But honestly, it's more fun just freewheeling because I feel like three guys having a conversation. It's just more fun. There's no pressure to please that person, to make sure they don't get disrespected, to make sure we put out the right stuff. But Silver, you feel that pressure as well because they'll tell you the last guy said PR firm said do this or don't do that. So there's something wonderful about guys just chatting. Yeah. For me, the podcast that I watch, whether it's Joe Rogan or lesser known person, when they're just having a little chat and not discussing the greatness of the guests, it almost always works really well.
Yeah, I agree, man. I enjoy doing these more. I don't sit on that many of the guest episodes, but I enjoy doing this because it is just that, right? It's us talking about things that we think about, right?
We have just destroyed our guest list. No one's coming on.
No. But look, guest episodes are great as well, right? I mean, we had some really, really good guests with some really, really good episodes. Your Rocky and Mayur episode was great last week. The one with
but I think
was fantastic.
The guys listening, the guys who've written into us or whatever, texted us, what is the right word? For them, I think they just enjoy the fact that guys are just freewheeling and chatting. And sometimes it's an interesting chat.
I have also seen feedback on our YouTube channel and comments and stuff like that. Also on like some of the other emails and stuff where people are like, hey, can we just have Cyrus talking to guests? Those are the Cyrus and Cyrus talking to somebody he doesn't know. Those are the best episodes.
No, that's the guest's wife. The guest's wife writing in. That's clearly biased.
No, it's more of I think it's more of a reaction to, well, actually this episode, the last time I saw it was on Thursday's episode. So it might have been more of a reaction to Thursday's episode specifically. But it is more of a, some people like conversations.
Aisha's mom? I'm giving a list of suspects.
No, Aisha was Friday. Thursday was Sriram.
Thursday, Sriram. The Sriram episode.
Anti-Tambram because of the finance minister. I will not tolerate this.
Us being able to make a coherent conversation going. Huh?
Oh, that was the bad Thursday tech support thing.
Yeah.
I mean, that's like a big bosom lady without a bra running on the field. And these things happen. Come on. Okay, I take that back again. We go back to guests. Guests are better. Silvery, is your mom listening?
She probably is. Yes.
Okay, I'm going to
say
sorry.
If not right now, she will listen in an hour or so.
Will you edit it nicely so I don't look like a jerk?
No, my mom loves you, man. My mom loves you. She loves listening to the show.
Because all your secrets come out through me. She thinks I'm that cousin from, who's always telling her the truth.
Yeah.
Find out more about something. Okay, let's do one more.
All right. Yeah. Next, this one is a cricket related one. Comes in from Mittu Chaudhary. He says, Cyrus, cricket question for you. Who do you think are the favorites for the Oz New Zealand T20 series starting today?
Yeah, well, I think honestly, Australia will be a little shocked by New Zealand. Done really well with the IPL in terms of selection. So I think because we're reading a lot in the cricket fraternity, people chatting about the fact that Steve Smith only went for 2.2 crores. I mean, this is along with Virat Kohli the best batsman of his generation. And in all forms, with all due respect, obviously his test record is great and all that, but also T20 is not bad at all. And he didn't have a great season last year, but he went from some 12.4 crores to 2.2. I mean, that's like a cut of 80%. They may be a little demotivated. Not too many Aussies were chosen. Two more new guys were chosen, but I think New Zealand has 6 players in the mix and 3 got chosen, which is fabulous. The best returns out of any country and huge money. Kyle Jameson getting 15 crores. So I think they're quite pumped up. And New Zealand is always the country that plays above themselves. I don't know in NBA if you have a team like that, but it's a team that always comes and will go above what they can do without having too many stars. They always perform. They're a real team in that sense.
So
Don't
there's
forget they beat
almost
us 2-love in Test last year, just
there,
about a
there,
little more than a year ago.
there are always a few NBA teams like that, right? I mean, like the last one I think was famously the Detroit Pistons from 2005,
But they
2006.
can't
They
have a
won the
LeBron James or a Steph Curry.
They
They
don't.
can't have those guys. They've got to
Yeah,
be
they
just
don't.
like, yeah. You
No,
got to
so
have good guys, plenty of good guys, but no great guys.
so that's the thing, right? So like the San Antonio Spurs were considered that, but then Tim Duncan turned into being one of the best players of all time, right? So you can no longer count them like that. So sometimes it becomes retrospective as well, right? You don't realize this player was this kind
Yeah.
of
They
legend
grow into
until
legend. They grow
later.
into
Yeah.
legend. That's horrible when they do that because we look stupid. Mediocre team played so well and suddenly he's the best player ever. Ouch.
But I
Horrible.
think the last one where it wasn't like Kawhi Leonard, LeBron James, Steph Curry, one of these like really huge stars was that 2005 Detroit Pistons team. They were the last one to win, and it was very much a no-name team.
There you
So
go.
yeah,
I would like to put sport in perspective. Djokovic won the 18th Grand Slam of his life and his 9th Australian Open, 9 out of 9 finals. India as a country has not won one Grand Slam singles. So
okay.
Djokovic 18,
India
Nadal
has
20, Federer 20, India.
but tennis is not our game.
How dare
How
you?
many Cricket World Cups has Czechoslovakia won?
What the hell sense does that make? It
Well,
is a
Djokovic
terrible
is
comparison. They
isn't
play no
Czechos-
cricket. We have a lot of tennis here. A lot of tennis. It's probably the third or fourth game in terms of popularity. Not fair. Yeah, it's a bit of a
Okay.
rich man sport, but then it is difficult to be a poor man sport because it's expensive stuff and you have to be a
Yeah.
member of a thing to play.
club? Yeah.
Yeah. Otherwise, Silvery would have won every championship by now. Very talented boy. All right, is that it? Oh, sorry. So I think New Zealand can actually win at the moment. That's my point.
Cool.
Yeah.
I agree with
All right.
Cyrus.
Especially if Steph Curry plays for them, right?
Yeah. Then I would watch.
The ball's a little smaller. I don't know how much bounce he's going to get. All right. Okay, so
just before
people
we end,
listening, yeah.
Just before we end, there is a great comment from Abhijit Dusani. He says, "If I don't get a raise this year, you all are to blame. I spent an hour of my office time every day listening to this podcast." Thanks so much, Abhijit.
Yeah, I
That's-
think somebody asked us if we could start at 9. I'm just like, I think 9's a little difficult
I'm okay.
to get to.
Yeah.
I'd love 9.
Well,
Get it out of the way so we
Abhijit
can
is
get
saying
on
we
with
start at
the-
8.
Guess. The
Okay.
problem is
Yes.
guess, right? The problem is guess. The problem is not us, right? Even though I would struggle at 9, I could make 9. 9 could happen because I'm up by 7:30, so I could make 9 happen without that.
3
much winning.
days, your habits will change. It's all bull. Human
Yeah.
beings are so adaptive. How do you
No,
think
so
night
I-
watchmen manage? You think they were born to just work from 12 to 6? No. 3 days and your body
Agreed.
changes.
Agreed. I'm sure that I would be able to manage 9. The problem is guess, so we would not be able to get a good guess.
So guess, buck up. Guess, please buck up. This 10 o'clock largesse has to stop. Come in at 7:30, like
Dude,
guess all over the world.
Cyrus, we used to record at 11. Remember, we would do 10 to 11 us,
No,
and then
we've
guest
done
would come
10s
at
also
11.
quite often, depending on
But
time.
guest would come at 11. We would record
Yeah,
the cock and
yeah.
bull first,
Yeah, correct. Fair enough.
right? Guest for us to.
So you're saying guests have done us a favor, brought down 11 to 10. I hear
Yeah.
you. I hear you.
But I think that might be also Zoom, right? Because we no longer need them to travel to car.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So we have to incorporate the word guest, viewer, and listener in our new word to discuss who's watching or listening. So it has to come from guest listener. Let me work on it. We'll see you tomorrow. Bye, guys.
All right.
Bye.